Hello there, folks. My name's Dustin Cormier. This is How to Rock Spirit. This is our third reading in the series on Osho's Yoga, the Science of the Soul. This is Osho's transliteration of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. We are in still in Chapter 1, and this will be the last episode, going through the last bit of Chapter 1, entitled Now the Discipline of Yoga. Osho's just been sort of warming us up to what we're going to talk about, and now we're finally going to get into what this chapter really is all about. Osho was first telling us that avatars such as Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, they almost seem like they're from another planet. They don't belong to us. They are divine, and they don't belong to the natural humanity per se. They are not part and parcel of humankind. But they are the real insiders. It's not that they're outsiders. It's that they have touched the innermost core of existence. And this is what Osho calls us to do in the practice of yoga, as it truly is meant to be intended. Osho continues, now, the discipline of yoga. If your mind has come to realize that whatsoever you have been doing up to now was just senseless, it was a nightmare at worst, or a beautiful dream at the best, then the path of true discipline opens before you. What is that path that is referred to as the path of yoga? Patanjali tells us the basic definition is yoga is the cessation of mind. I said that Patanjali is just mathematical. In a single sentence, now the discipline of yoga, he is finished with you. This is the only sentence that has been used for you. Now he takes it for granted that you are interested in yoga, not as a hope, but as a discipline, as a transformation right here and now. He proceeds to define it. Yoga is the cessation of mind. This is the best definition of yoga. Yoga has been defined in many ways. There are many definitions. Some say yoga is the meeting of the mind with the whole. Hence, it is called yoga. Yoga means meeting, huge, a joining together. Some say that yoga means dropping the ego, quote unquote. Ego is the barrier. The moment you drop the ego, you are joined to the whole. You were already joined. Only because of the ego, it appeared that you were disjoined. And there are many other definitions, but Patanjali's is the most scientific. He says, yoga is the cessation of mind. Yoga is the state of no mind. The word mind covers all. Your egos, your desires, your hopes, your philosophies, your religions, your scriptures. Mind covers all. Whatsoever you can think is mind. All that is known, all that can be known, all that is knowable is within mind. Cessation of the mind means cessation of the known, cessation of the knowable. It is a jump into the unknown. When there is no mind, you are in the unknown. Yoga is a jump into the unknown. Or will it be better to say, the unknowable? What is the mind? What is the mind doing there? What is it? Ordinarily, we think that mind is something substantial there inside the head. Patanjali doesn't agree, and no one who has ever known the inside of the mind will agree. Modern science also doesn't agree. Mind is not something substantial inside the head. Mind is just a function. It's just an activity. You walk, and I say, you are walking. But what is walking? If you stop, where is walking? If you sit down, where has the walking gone? Walking is nothing substantial. It is an activity. So, while you are sitting, no one can ask you, where have you put your walking? Just now you were walking, so where has the walking gone? You will laugh. You will say, walking is not something substantial. It is just an activity. I can walk again, I can walk, and I can stop. It is an activity. Mind is like this. Mind is also an activity. But because of the word mind, it appears as if something substantial is there. It is better to call it minding, just like walking, minding the store. Mind means minding. Mind means thinking. It is an activity. I have quoted Bodhidharma many times. Bodhidharma traveled to China, and the emperor of China went to see him. The emperor said, "My mind is very uneasy, very disturbed. You are a great sage, and I've been waiting for you. Tell me what I should do to put my mind at peace." Bodhidharma simply replied, "You don't do anything. First, you bring your mind to me." The emperor could not follow. He asked, What do you mean?" Bodhidharma said, "Come in the morning at 4 o'clock when nobody is around. Come alone, and remember to bring your mind with you." The emperor couldn't sleep the whole night. Many times he canceled the whole idea. This man seems to be mad. What does he mean, come with your mind? Don't forget. But Bodhidharma was so enchanting, so charismatic, that the emperor couldn't cancel the appointment. As if a magnet was pulling him. At 4 o'clock, he jumped out of bed and said, "Whatever happens, I must go. This man may have something. His eyes say that he has something. He looks a little crazy, but still I must go and see what can happen." So he went, and Bodhidharma was sitting there with his big staff. He said, "So you have come. Where is your mind? Have you brought it or not?" The emperor replied, "You talk nonsense. When I am here, my mind is here. It is not something that I can forget somewhere. It is in me." So Bodhidharma said, "Okay, so the first thing is decided, that the mind is within you." The emperor said, Okay, sure, the mind is within me." Bodhidharma then said, "Now close your eyes and find out where it is. And if you can find out where it is, immediately indicate it to me. I will put it at peace. So the emperor closed his eyes, tried and tried, looked and looked. The more he looked, the more he became aware that there is no mind. That mind is an activity. It is not some thing that you can pinpoint. But the moment he realized that it is not something, then the absurdity of his quest was exposed to him. If the mind is not something, nothing can be done about it. If it is an activity, then don't do the activity. That's all. If it's like walking, then don't walk. The emperor opened his eyes. He bowed down to Bodhidharma and said, "There is no mind to be found." Bodhidharma said, "Then I have put it at peace. And whenever you feel that you are uneasy, just look within where that uneasiness is." The very look is anti-mind, because a look is not a thinking. And if you look intensely, your whole energy becomes a look, the same energy that was movement and thinking before. Osho continues describing Patanjali's sutra, and he says, "Yoga is the cessation of mind." This is Patanjali's definition. When there is no mind, you are in yoga. When there is mind, you are not in yoga. So you may do all the postures, but if the mind goes on functioning, if you go on thinking, you are not in yoga. Yoga is the state of no mind. If you can be without the mind, without doing any posturing, you have become a perfect yogi. It has happened to many without doing any postures, and it has not happened to many who have been doing postures for many lives. Because the basic thing to be understood is this: when the activity of thinking is not there, you are there. When the activity of the mind is not there, when thoughts have disappeared, they are just like clouds. When they have disappeared, your being, just like the sky, is uncovered. It is always there, only it is covered with the clouds, covered with thoughts. Yoga is the cessation of mind. In the West now, there is much appeal in Zen, a Japanese method of yoga. The word Zen comes from dhyana, Dhyana. Bodhidharma introduced this word dhyana in China. In China, the word dhyana becomes chan and then chan. And then the word traveled to Japan and became Zen. The root of it is dhyana, which means no mind. It's the same dhyana that is one of the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. So the whole training of Zen in Japan is of nothing but how to stop minding, how to be a no mind, how to be simply without looking, without thinking. Try it. When I say try it, it will look contradictory because there is no other way to say it. Because if you try, the very trying, the effort, is coming from the mind. You can sit in a posture and you can try some japa, chanting a mantra, or you can just try to sit silently, not to think. But then, not to think becomes a thinking. You go on saying, I am not to think. Don't think. Stop thinking. But this is all thinking. Try to understand. When Patanjali talks about no mind, cessation of the mind, he means complete cessation, ceasing. He will not allow you to create japa, Ram, 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 Ram. He will say that this is not cessation. You are using the mind. He will simply say, simply stop. But you will ask, how? How to simply stop? The mind continues. Even if you sit, the mind continues. Even if you don't do, it goes on doing. Patanjali says, just look. Let mind go. Let mind do whatsoever it is doing. You just look. You don't interfere. You just be a witness. You just be an onlooker, not concerned, as if the mind doesn't belong to you. As if it is not your business, not your concern. Don't be concerned. Just look and let the mind flow. It is flowing because of past momentum, because you have always helped it to flow. The activity has taken on its own momentum, so it is flowing. You just don't cooperate. Look and let the mind flow. For many lives, millions of lives maybe, you have cooperated with it. You have helped it. You have given your energy to it. The river will flow for a while. If you don't cooperate, if you just look unconcerned, Buddha's word is indifference, upeksha, looking without any concern, just looking, not doing anything in any way. The mind will flow for a while, and it will stop by itself. When the momentum is lost, when the energy has flowed, the mind will stop. When the mind stops, you are in yoga. You have attained the discipline. This is a furtherance of the definition. Yoga is the cessation of mind. Then the witness is established in itself. When the mind ceases, the witness is established in itself. When you can simply look without being identified with the mind, without judging, without appreciating or condemning, without choosing, you simply look and the mind flows. A time comes when, by itself, of itself, the mind stops. When there is no mind, you are established in your witnessing. Then you have become a witness, just a seer, a drashta, a sakchi. Then you are not a doer. Then you are not a thinker. Then you are simply pure being, the purest of being. Then the witness is established in itself. Patanjali tells us, in other states, there is identification with the modifications of the mind. Except witnessing, in all states, you are identified with the mind. Except for witnessing, In all states, you are identified with the mind. You become one with the flow of thoughts. You become one with the clouds. Sometimes with the white cloud, sometimes with the black cloud, sometimes with a rain-filled cloud, sometimes with a vacant, empty cloud. But whatsoever the case, you become one with the thought. You become one with the cloud, and you miss your purity of sky, the purity of space. You become clouded, and this clouding happens because you get identified. You become one with the clouds. A thought comes. You are hungry, and the thought flashes in the mind. The thought is simply that there is hunger, that the stomach is feeling hunger. Immediately, you get identified. You say, I am hungry. The mind was just filled with a thought that hunger is there, but you have now become identified, and you say, I am hungry. This is the identification that Patanjali is talking about. Identification with the modifications of mind. Now, remember, Buddha also feels hunger. Patanjali also feels hunger. But Patanjali will never say, I am hungry. He will say, the body is hungry. He will say, my stomach is feeling hungry. He will say, there is hunger. I am a witness. I have come to witness this thought, which has been flashed by the belly in the brain, saying, I am hungry. The belly is hungry. Patanjali will remain a witness. You become identified. You become one with the thought. Yoga is the cessation of mind. Yoga, when the yoga has the cessation of mind, then the witness is established in itself. In other states, there is identification with the modifications of the mind. The main definition of yoga is that it is the sensation, the cessation of the mind. When mind ceases, you are established in your witnessing self. In other states, there are identifications, and all identifications constitute the world. If you are in the identifications, you are in the world. You are in the misery. If you have transcended the identifications, then you are liberated. You have become a siddha. You are in nirvana. You have transcended this world of misery and entered the world of bliss. And that world is here and now, right now, this very moment. You need not wait even a single moment for it. Just become a witness of the mind, and you have entered. Get identified with the mind, and you have missed. This is the basic definition. Remember everything, because later on, in other sutras, we will remember the details of what is to be done, how it is to be done. But always keep in mind that this is the foundation. One has to achieve a state of no mind. That is the goal of Patanjali's yoga in the Yoga Sutras. I hope you guys enjoyed that. In the next episode, we're going to get into the 5 modifications of the mind and the types of things that obstruct us from coming into this cessation of mind as through the yoga experience of no mind. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys again soon in the next episode. I'm Dustin Cormier, and this is How to Rock Spirit. Take care, guys, and I'll see you around.